I'm capable of so much, so I might as well spend my time giving my time to people that are less fortunate. The KC Metro, yes, it feels like home. Even if I'm only here for a weekend or a day, it feels like I'm coming home. And it's definitely the kind of thing that changed my life because I missed all of junior year, but I came back for senior year after doing some rehab, some speech therapy, helping with my speaking, some physical therapy. I was wondering if we could chat about movies quite a bit. Respect always makes an impact, and it is always something positive for the future.
Because he's John Sellmeyer.
Hello, Demontae.
Hi, John.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I've known you since, how long have we known each other?
Oh my goodness, probably since 5th grade, 6th grade.
It's been a long time.
It's been a few years.
Yeah. I've known you pretty much, I'll just say my whole life.
Yeah.
Since we've been in school. But no, it's good to see you.
Definitely. It's good to see you too.
I don't think I've seen you really since graduation.
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice since then.
Maybe.
But yeah, no, it's so good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. Even if I did see you and it was in passing and we didn't link up. We just, oh, look, there's John.
Yeah. No, so you were telling me that you have been traveling a lot since graduation. Where's all the different places that you've been living in?
Mainly just a few places. I've been living in Quincy, Illinois, where my family's from, and I've been living in Sarasota, where my mom lives. And I've been helping out my family in Illinois, and I've been I've been helping out my mom down in Florida.
This might be a silly question. Sarasota, which state is that in?
That's in Florida.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yes.
Illinois, how far are you from Chicago?
6 hours?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know where Hannibal is?
No, I have no idea.
Okay. Hannibal is on the eastern side of Missouri, right in the middle. If we're looking at the state, it's right in the middle on the eastern side.
Yeah.
And Quincy is just a bridge right over the border, the border.
Oh, okay.
So It's about 20 minutes from Hannibal.
So between Illinois, Florida, Missouri, where has been your favorite place to live?
Right here.
Right here?
Yeah, right here.
The KC Metro?
The KC Metro, yes. It feels like home. Even if I'm only here for a weekend or a day, it feels like I'm coming home.
Yeah.
I love Florida. I love being there. But Florida's a nice place. Can't anything bad about it because it's nice. Weather's always nice. 80 to 90, just sunny every day.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Ugh, disgusting. Weather never changes. It's so boring. But Quincy, there's nothing to do there, really. I like being there because family, but the only thing they could do there is to go to the local tavern and go eat with it's the same old people. But it's the kind of place, like, they have 5 parks in Quincy, and then only one weekend of the year anything happens at any of them. It's like people go to the bar, or they go to church, or they go to the bowling alley. We have one bowling alley, but that's it. Like a bar, church, and maybe bowling.
So it's a pretty calm lifestyle.
Oh, yes.
And the stereotype, at least for the times you've lived in Florida, is that it's a lot of retired people. Is that what you most of the time?
Oh, no.
Really?
There's the only stereotype you can say that's actually true about Florida is there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because every day of the year, there are people coming from and going from different countries all the time. The biggest thing about Florida is it's a melting pot. You'll see people from Brazil, people from Guatemala, everywhere. That's how we knew what month it is. If somebody was unsure, one of the workers at the grocery stores, we'd say, lately it's the football team came back from Guatemala, so we know it's March.
Oh, wow.
Judge it by, because there's people that come every year this time.
So very diverse.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of, okay. No, that makes sense. One time I was in Orlando, and I don't remember which country had won. It was like the huge football. I'm not going to pretend like I know. and football with the U, so what we call soccer.
The
But
World
yeah,
Cup. The World Cup.
yeah, and they were like singing all their songs and doing their national anthem, and it was beautiful, but it
Okay.
just seems so culturally diverse. It seems like it's a beautiful place to
Oh,
live.
it's an amazing place.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then a question about Illinois. So the reason why I asked how far you are from Chicago, I've been to Chicago once, and the food was amazing. But it sounds like you're just right on the other side of the Missouri border. Is that kind of where you're at?
Yes.
So is the food pretty much the same as Missouri?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing unique, special, no fast food chain that's unique over there, anything like that?
There might be one or two places, but nothing I can think of offhand.
Yeah. Gotcha. Nice. Did you say you might be starting at MCC soon?
Yes.
So what is that going to look like?
MCC is Metropolitan Community College, and it's in downtown Kansas City. It's right by Westport.
Yes. Also, have you been to Westport?
No.
Ooh, party. Woo.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. But stay safe. Stay safe, everybody listening, Westport. Yep. Jarek's lifting the glass in the background. No, but
Yeah.
that's awesome. What do you want to study?
I'm going to school to study occupational therapy
Oh, nice.
because I want to be an OTA, an occupational therapy assistant,
Okay.
and I want to help other people that have traumatic brain injuries, TBI.
Okay.
Because as I have a TBI and it happened my junior year, and I want to spend all of my time going forward giving back to others and helping others that have traumatic brain injuries, because I've been, number one, I'm here. Number two, I'm capable of so much, so I might as well spend my time giving my time to people that are less fortunate, but that are dealing with this condition that I'm gonna have forever. But nobody wakes up and nobody asks for this, but everybody has to deal with it. And it's the people that, as with anything, it's the people that come before us that set the path, that show how things should be, and we just try to do what we can from that and make it better for the people for those we see, but also those we don't see, those that will inherit our methods and our procedures and our practices and continue down that same road.
Yeah. No, I think that's beautiful. That's awesome. And everyone listening might not be familiar with what you're talking about when you talk about junior year in high school. I know, actually, I don't know if you remember for KPTV. Do you remember I had done an interview where I had actually talked to you about everything? But if you want
No,
to...
I don't remember that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you want to just give them a summary or let everybody know what happened, but whatever you're comfortable with. I just want to make sure you're comfortable. So,
of course.
yeah, go for it.
At Ray Pack at Raymore Peculiar High School. It's in Peculiar, Missouri, and I went there with John and Jarek and probably a lot of our listeners. And during my junior year of high school, I dealt with there was a wreck that occurred, and it wasn't my fault. I was with my mom, and it wasn't her fault. It wasn't the kind of thing that could have been avoided. And it's definitely the kind of thing that changed my life, because I missed all of junior year. But I came back for senior year after doing some rehab, some speech therapy, helped me with my speaking, some physical therapy, helped me learn to walk again and go up steps and all these important things. And then occupational therapy, which was, all of them are definitely supremely important, every type of therapy, but occupational therapy, I felt like that was the most beneficial to me based on my injury and what I was dealing with personally. And occupational therapy, what it is, it helps people with the mental reconstruction of pathways in the brain, so to speak, metaphorically, because it helps things go back closer to the way they were in the past in terms of mental cognition, we'll say. And it deals with improving your thinking speed, your memory, your focus, your ability to function independently, because your mind is cognizant of the world around you.
So physical therapy people may stereotypically think of learning how to walk again and then speech therapy, learning to talk. But occupational therapy is very unique, is what it sounds like based off what you said.
Yes.
Do you have
But
any examples of something that you learned during that time, or an example that you could give very specific to occupational therapy that sets it apart from the other two?
yes, one of the big things about occupational therapy, at least for me, at least for my therapy, it's we played a lot of games. We played, we didn't really play any board games, but we played card games type of thing, like Uno and Go Fish type of deal.
Yeah.
And games are one of the aspects that are able to unlock, or yeah, I guess you'd say unlock learning in the brain, because there has to be a way of figuring things out and understanding that the two of clubs matches with the two of diamond, because they're both two but they're different suits.
Okay.
And it's also deals with recognition, of course, because you're seeing, okay, this is a club, this is a diamond, and the understanding of the correlation between things is all intrinsically linked to any of these, we're going to say, simple games. They can have a profound effect.
So it sounds like as you go on your path of becoming an occupational therapist, and something that you probably learned when you were a patient, is it's a lot of focus and it's a lot of patience also. Is that something you'd agree with?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. No, but something I've always admired about you is you've always been very optimistic and forward thinking. What do you think guides that?
Just the basic understanding that my positive attitude can have a positive effect on people, period. Even if I don't see it, even if I don't think about it, or even if I don't really try to will it into existence, a positive effect, because it doesn't need to be willed, because the act of you being there and you being supportive of somebody, or you listening and understanding, you being somebody that cares is a big thing. Like, for example, a few years ago in college, I had this classmate, and great dude, awesome dude, but I didn't know anything was going on, anything was wrong or anything. But at the end of one day during class, as it was getting closer to being over for that semester, he told me, he said, "Oh, Demontae, thank you for always being there and being funny and being somebody who's alive and somebody who cares, because you, in your way of making the class interesting through humor and through asking questions, getting me to understand things that I didn't want to ask any questions because I'm a shy guy or whatever. It really helped me stay in the class, because I was gonna drop out because I was bored. But you kept my spirit alive and you kept me in the class.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I felt the same way about you, honestly, throughout high school, too. I felt like you were someone that a lot of people could come to and lean on, and that you were also very inspirational.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Occupational therapy, MCC. We've talked about some of your background, what you're doing in the future, but let's talk about you nowadays. What are your hobbies? What are you up to?
I do a little bit of drawing here and there, do a little bit of writing. I love reading. I have a lot of friends, actually, that write fan fiction, and a whole bunch, and some real good stuff. And one of the things, I like playing video games here and there, a lot of cool ones. Jared, kind of looking forward to one coming out later today. It was supposed to come out at 4, we thought, but come out later. Splitgate 2.
Okay.
It's like a Halo mixed with Portal.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
It's very fun. It's crazy. Didn't think I'd be interested in it when I first played it, but it's crazy how just changing one thing about anything can really revolutionize everything about it.
Yeah. Do you remember how big of a deal Portal was when it came out?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was obsessed with that game.
Yes, yes.
And then, of course, Halo Master Chief was like an icon.
Of course, yes.
But
undoubtedly.
What were you going to say?
And another thing is, I like watching movies.
Yes.
I was wondering if you if we could chat about movies quite a bit, because I wanted to, if it's okay with you, take the focus away from me and go about movies just
Yeah, we
down
can take
whichever
it.
route you want to,
Okay.
because I think understand that you have a lot of listeners that really like movies and that really were invested a lot when it was centered more around movies.
So I made a big mistake when I started this podcast.
Mm,
I ostracized a big chunk of listeners because I started my podcast in October.
okay.
So I started reviewing scary movies.
Mm,
And then people thought this was only a scary movie review podcast.
okay.
So then
Yeah.
people who didn't like scary movies said, I'm out. I'm
Yeah,
not going to listen to this anymore.
for sure.
So I've really branched out since then. That's why I've gone out more and doing interviews and learning about people and learning about their lifestyle. I think it's very optimistic. I think it honestly betters society because it makes the world a better place hearing great stories like your story, honestly.
Yes.
But yeah, no, occasionally I do review movies though.
Okay. Yeah, if we could talk about movies, that'd be cool.
Okay.
We can talk a little bit about horror, but I don't know. I'm not, I just started diving into horror, so I won't know definitely everything that needs to be known in terms of horror or
I'm curious.
whatever, but
It can be any movie whatsoever. Do you
okay.
have a favorite horror movie or what's the last horror movie you've seen? What's your introduction to the genre?
I have to say, if I was giving somebody a movie to start out in terms of their horror, it would depend on their how squeamish they are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start somebody out with Terrifier, for example.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
No, never. But if they are really into action movies and blood and gore and guts, then Terrifier might be the right way to start them down. But just generally speaking, if we're talking about just anybody, just give them a shot in the dark. For any potential listener, I'd say that a good horror movie to start out with would be Scream.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not crazy bloody, but there is definitely a lot to it, a lot of substance.
I think with Scream, you have a movie that has the right amount of violence, suspense. Sometimes it can even be funny.
Oh, yes.
It has a little bit of that humor.
And it has a little bit of mystery, too.
Yeah, it's the perfect mixture. I grew up watching Scream and movies like that. And then as an adult, within the last 2 years, I finally watched Friday the 13th. And because I'm used to movies as good as Scream, Friday the 13th let me down.
Yes.
Because going back and viewing something where it's not as fast paced, it's not as comical, it's really just a typical slasher. You're watching people get slashed.
Yeah, I have to set my bar. I don't even want to say a bar, but in terms of just generally for movies, I watch a lot of junk.
Yeah.
Because I have to cleanse my palate. If I just watch the most amazing movies, the ones I'm supremely interested in all the time, I would get so elitist.
Yeah.
And then that has happened a few times with certain types of categories of movies. For example, say if we're talking about action movies, and in my opinion, undoubtedly, the best action director is Gareth Evans because of The Raid and The Raid Part 2.
I don't know if I've seen The Raid.
Oh, it's absolute masterpiece.
I need to check that out.
It's on I believe it's on Netflix.
Okay.
Part 2 might be as well. I always forget if one is on Netflix and one is on Amazon Prime Video. That's neither here nor there. In terms of favorite horror movie,
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. That one is so good.
Oh, yes.
And I saw that for the first time maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So I saw it as an adult.
Yeah.
And the movie is still so good. That was my first time ever watching it, and it was awesome. What cracks me up, though, is I think it's supposed to take place in Ohio or somewhere in the Midwest.
Ohio, Iowa, something like that.
But they filmed it in California and there's palm trees everywhere, and it doesn't line up. But in terms of Freddy Krueger being just an iconic villain, it's such a good movie.
Oh, yes.
What do you like about it?
I like that it brings a whole nother dimension to horror that never was there before, because it brings about, it has to do with psychological horror. You can't ever escape something if it's in your dreams,
Yeah.
because you're asleep. But even if you're awake, you're thinking about your dreams.
Yes.
But there have been some, of course, who were able to succeed. But that's a whole different avenue, talking about beating a horror villain. We don't need to get into all that.
And another thing that makes it so interesting is every small town in America has an Elm Street.
Oh, yes. Quincy has an Elm Street.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Raymore has an Elm Street.
Yes.
It just adds that little creepy feel to it all.
Oh, definitely. Because it's not just Nightmare on this street that's only in this one city,
Yeah.
in this one state. It's a street. It could be your neighbor's street. It could be your street. Or it could be
It's
that one
great.
street you never walk down because you're afraid. And I just want to give a shout out real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'm going to give a shout out to Andrew Christopher,
Whoop whoop.
whoop, because he's been trying to get me on this podcast for since November.
Okay.
And he knows he loves movies, and he's been trying to get me here, and I've been dragging my heels here and there, but all the stars aligned and we were able to get together, which is
It's perfect.
amazing.
Yeah.
So when I called him as you were on the way, he was so happy.
No, that's good. His wife and my wife are in the same book club too. That's awesome.
All right.
And I know he listened to, I did an episode with, do you remember Reese?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we talked about every single film that won Best Picture from the Oscars.
Oh boy.
And it was like an hour and a half episode. It was way too long. But no, we go very in depth into some of the movies.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into award shows because there's so many movies and so many actors that aren't. If we're going to talk about the Oscars, we can start and stop by, I don't want to delegitimize it because Oscar biggest, air quotes, the biggest award, but which is what shows up next to somebody's name on the front of a DVD.
Yeah.
Or
The
if
little
they're
statue.
yeah, or if they're talking about the movie, it stars Academy Award winner. This movie stars Academy Award winner, which that's really cool. But we can stop with our talk about the Oscars with, I believe it was an 87 film, maybe 83. I might be butchering the year. I'm pretty sure it was in the 80s though.
Okay.
Shawshank. Wasn't awarded, wasn't nominated for anything.
Shawshank, if I remember correctly, I think it's 94. Was it 94 or is it earlier than that? I can do a quick fact check. If I remember correctly, okay, some of the movies nominated for Best Picture in 1994 was Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction, and Forrest Gump. Do you know which one won?
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, that's Forrest Gump.
Yes.
But isn't that crazy? So many great movies in one year.
Yes.
But Shawshank, looking back, it's almost a perfect movie. It probably should have won.
It's one of, if we're talking about drama movies, there's offhand, I don't think I could think of a movie that is, better.
Yeah, for sure. Another one. What is that movie? It's black and white. Citizen Kane.
Never seen it.
It's supposed to be considered
I know.
the best movie
I
ever
know.
made.
I know. I've never seen it. Someday maybe, but it's
that one didn't win either.
okay. Yeah,
It lost to How Green Was My Valley. Have you ever heard of that movie?
yes.
Yeah, that one. I thought it was pretty good. And then something I wanted to ask you, do you like Studio Ghibli films?
Yes.
Which one is your favorite one?
There are a lot of good ones, of course. Everybody knows My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah.
But As far as my favorite, that's a big question. There are so many.
My wife's favorite is Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
And then just off the top of my head, there's Porco Rosso, Princess Mononoke. And then what's the most famous one? Oh, Spirited Away.
Yeah, Spirited Away is my favorite.
That one's awesome.
That was only because it was the first one I've seen.
Yeah.
So it holds a special place.
Yes.
They're all amazing, and they're of course. But what do you believe the best movie made is?
Ooh, best or my favorite? Because those are different.
The favorite is totally different than best.
Yes. Thank you.
It has to be. People, though, when they say, "Oh, this is your favorite movie," I'll just laugh at them and say, "No, that's not my favorite movie. Favorite to me, anyway, means it's the movie. If I could only watch one movie for the rest of my life, but I had to watch it every day,
Yep.
or maybe every week, or maybe once a month.
Yes.
But it's the only movie I could watch. This is the movie I would pick because it's my favorite. That's what it means, at least to me.
Exactly.
But best is something totally different. Best is just, it doesn't really need to be explained. Best is better than all the rest because it's the best. Yes. So what do you believe the best is? And then we can get into, and then I want to know what your favorite is, and then I'll tell you my favorite, and then I'll tell you the best movie.
Okay.
I can tell you why it's the best movie.
I like this a lot because I used to have a list of my top 5 personal favorites. I don't know if I've done a top 5 best. I know for sure Gladiator is going to be up there.
Okay.
The Departed. Have you seen The Departed?
Of course.
Oh man, 10 out of 10. Those two are top notch. I really love Quentin Tarantino. I'm trying to think of any of his movies deserve a 10 out of 10 though. That's really difficult. Pulp Fiction.
Maybe
Kill Bill's awesome.
if we consider part 1 and part 2 as one movie.
What would you consider? If I'm going to say Gladiator and The Departed, I want to hear what your answer is because you might change my mind. What do you think the best movie ever made was? What's your answer?
Oh, you were raising The Departed and Gladiator as the
Yes.
best?
Yes.
Okay. The best movie ever made, it's before all those.
Okay.
Way before all those. It's in black and white. I'm not a romance guy, but I'm a romantic.
Ooh,
but
can I guess what you're going to say?
Sure.
Does it start with a C?
The next letter is A.
Casablanca?
Yes.
Casablanca's a great movie.
Unequivocally, it is profoundly
movie.
the best movie ever made.
Yes.
Because, in my opinion, of course, because the characterization is so rich.
Yes.
The emotion is so real in there. And with simple flashback, it totally propels the story light years in the future in terms of its impact.
Yeah.
And I've never had a film where the characterization has been so good and been so intricately tied into the flashbacks and the music. Everything just fits together like a puzzle perfectly. And the only reason it's not my favorite movie is because I can only watch it once every 2 or 3 months because it's so big. It has such an effect on me.
Yeah. No, that is
It's
like the perfect answer. Casablanca is probably the best movie ever.
I wish it wasn't the best in a way, selfishly. That way it could be my favorite and I just every day I watch it. But it's too much. It's too much for me to watch. So
the one scene from Casablanca when the lead actress looks at the piano player and she says, "Play it again, Sam." And he starts playing that song. And then the main character bursts in and he said, "I told you not to play that." It's such a good scene. That scene is beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
No, that's a great movie.
But of all the places in all the world, or of all the gin joints in the world, you had to stop in amongst. I'm butchering the quote.
Yeah, but no, it's a good quote. Yeah.
Yes.
Very memorable. And okay.
It is memorable, but it's just escaping me right now.
Favorite movies. I'm gonna throw out like 5.
Okay.
Because with favorite, like you said, it's something I can watch every single day, and I can throw out some oddballs.
Okay.
Because some of my favorite movies are really weird. Have you seen Sorry to Bother You?
No, my watch list is probably about two, 2,300.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like my games list. I have hundreds of games I own, which I'm someday if I retired tomorrow, maybe I might be able to get to all my games. I might have to give up on all my games so I can get to all my movies. So yeah.
For sure. Okay. Sorry to Bother You, which I suggest you watch that movie. It has the biggest plot twist ever. I wouldn't even look anything up about it.
Okay, yeah, go dark.
Go watch that.
Yes, of course.
That's what my wife and I went to the movie theaters, and when the twist happened, we were like, we dropped our popcorn bucket. We were like, oh my God, you're not even going to be able to predict what the twist is. It's just ridiculous.
Okay. Talking about 10 out of 10 movies, one surprising movie, I have to give it, I'd say just for the theater experience alone, I would have to give it a 10 out of 10. And if you're looking at this movie from a critical standpoint, you didn't come to the movie with the right attitude.
Okay.
And you're not going to like it. This was years ago down in Florida. Me and a buddy there who I went to the movies with a lot. We went to this movie theater at the mall because we always went to, I believe it was called Charlie's beforehand because it was in the movie theater. We'd go there and we'd get Philly cheesesteak. We'd get Philly cheesesteak with a drink for $8. And we'd eat that before every movie. That way we didn't have to pay for popcorn or a drink or anything.
Also, Phillies are delicious.
Oh, yes, of course. And nobody wants to go to a movie theater hungry because they're going to get everything.
Yeah. And everything's twice the price there.
Yes, at least.
Okay, something you said that I have a question about real quick.
Okay.
Does a favorite movie have to be a 10 out of 10?
No, it can be a 1 out of 10. That's not it doesn't matter. It's something you enjoy, and you enjoy it, so that's all that matters. Yeah. Just like this movie, I'm going to tell you 10 out of 10. It certainly might be some people's favorite, but I don't know, and somebody might consider it the best movie, but that doesn't mean that objectively it can be considered the best.
Okay. I'm getting excited. All right.
But this movie, this was years ago, and this was something else. Went into the theater, and it was Saturday, so I was off work, and middle of the day, I went into this movie dark. I didn't know anything about it. He said, hey, you want to go see this movie? But he said, hey, let's go see the movie. I said, okay. What do you want to see? And he told me the title. I said, I don't know. I didn't see anything on it. He said, don't worry about it. Trust me, you're going to want to see it. I said, oh, okay, yeah. I want to go get a Philly cheesesteak. And it's Saturday. I want to go see a movie. Yeah, whatever. Let's go. Yeah. And we went to the theater, and it was about 4/5 the way full. So it was pretty good size. A lot of people there. Yeah. And by the end of the movie, there were 3 people there, including both of us. There was one other person. There was vomit all over the floor. There was screams still echoing in the theater, and people oh my goodness, people ran out of the theater. There was, like I said, vomit. Babies were crying. It's not the kind of movie I would ever. Kids were cheering as they got drug out of the theater, but it's not the kind of movie I would take my kid to anyway, let alone a baby.
What movie was it?
Oh my goodness. Hardcore Henry.
Oh, I have never actually watched it, but I know what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Some of our listeners might not know about Hardcore Henry. Hardcore Henry set a new bar, so to speak. It reinvigorated and it changed the landscape in this much the same way as Nightmare on Elm Street did, which we were talking about earlier. Because Hardcore Henry was the first-person movie shot entirely with a GoPro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. That's all first-person point of view, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And there have been quite a few movies that have, in the past, that had scenes that were in first person that you see through the character's eyes, so to speak. But it was just for part of a scene or just a second or two, like in Doom, or
what is it? I think it's called Quarantine. Yes, someone holding a camera and you're seeing it from the camera's perspective. Yeah, Hardcore Henry, you're actually seeing it from Henry's perspective.
Yes,
and it's such a difference.
Oh yes, and the movie, it was. I almost didn't make it through the movie. I almost threw up once or twice or 5 times, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And it had me, seeing this in theaters, it had me a little bit headache at times, of course,
Yep.
because you're so invested in the movie and it's first person, it gives you a little bit of vertigo. And when he's doing, since you haven't seen the movie, which you should check out, by the way, don't just go in blind.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely going blind to it. For any of y'all listening, just if you can deal with it, cool, you'll enjoy it. If you can't deal with it, just don't even think about it again.
Yep.
But there's parkour, there's skydiving without a parachute, I believe. There's, oh my goodness, there's fights, there's fist fights, there's gunplay, there's
just as much
bullets
action
screaming
as
at you, there's nudity, there's sex, there's blood. It's absolutely just a remarkable experience. That's why, on the experience alone, I have to give this film a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
And if I was rating the movie, I would give it a 10 out of 10 as well, because it was so phenomenal. But it was something you have to be in the mood. You have to just enjoy it for what it is. You can't be thinking about potholes or this and that. You can't be nitpicking. You just have to just breathe and just be amazed.
Yeah.
Because it was something to be. That's all movies are, is they're supposed to entertain. And that was certainly entertaining, unequivocally. But in terms of the actual theater experience, I think this is a good segue into a movie I just saw last night, which was remarkable. It actually changed the way I think about film in a way.
Okay.
Yes, I went with Jarek and his significant other, Kinley. And we saw Ballerina, the new John Wick spinoff.
Oh.
It was remarkable, and it was exceptional. It was intense. It was thrilling. It was emotional. I saw it in Dolby, like I said, and it changed the way I think about things in terms of seeing a movie in Dolby. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine in Dolby last year, which it was amazing, of course.
Yeah.
And then I saw it in IMAX, but I didn't really think Dolby was amazing, of course, at it, with seeing it and first time in Dolby, but didn't really have an impact. But seeing Ballerina in Dolby, you felt everything. The sound and the visuals were so intense that you really felt it when Eve, the main character of Ballerina, gets slammed to the ground, or when somebody gets shot, or or there's an explosion or anything. Yeah. It's so visceral, having the impact felt, all your focus just on the movie, that you feel like you're there. And you can feel that with other movies. It's just a movie or whatever, with other types of theaters. But Dolby, everything else just fades away.
Yeah. Because
it's so engrossing and enrapturing, because it's loud, it's intense, it's phenomenal. It's epic, yes.
Demontae, what would you rate Ballerina out of 10?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
Easy.
Wow.
I'd say it's up there, tied with John Wick 4, maybe above John Wick 4 in somewhat. Actually, I'm going to say John Wick, Ballerina, John Wick 4, John Wick 2, John Wick 3.
Okay. I need to check it out for sure.
In terms of their ranking.
Okay. And it's in theaters right now.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It is in theaters right now. We saw a preview show because we saw it in a premium format. We saw it in Dolby. But if you see films in Dolby and the other formats, They come out on Wednesday, I believe. 2 days before, Wednesday or Thursday, depending on where you're at. A day or two before the release date.
Yes. Awesome.
Yes.
Demontae, I always let the guest towards the end of the pod. If you want to give any kind of message, inspirational message, the floor is all yours. Whatever you want to say.
Okay. Is for everyone listening, number one, I hope you're having a great day. And number two, I hope you can enjoy this life, because we have one life and we can live it for ourselves, which, okay, that's fine. Or we can live it for others. And it doesn't mean we have to give everything away. It doesn't mean we have to spend every second of our day trying to please others. But it just means when you're given an option and you have the potential to do something good or do something bad, you're going up to somebody, you like their shoes, you could say, oh, hey, I like your kicks. Or you could say, oh, your kicks are awful. I wish I didn't have to look at those. Which, obviously, if you were saying that in this situation, you'd be saying that because you wish you had their kicks and you were jealous. But you could treat them with hostility, or you could treat them with respect. And treating others with respect is the most impactful and the most important thing you can do, because you can help somebody out, because you don't know what they're dealing with. You have no way of knowing, but you might have a profound impact on their life. Just like I was talking earlier about a classmate I had in the past. He said I was the reason that he didn't drop out of college, just because the jokes I was making and the questions I was asking to get understanding about the class. And he was a shy guy, but he wanted to have an understanding of these things, but he wasn't the kind of person that would raise his hand or talk to the teacher after class or before class. But you never know how you can make an impact, but undoubtedly, wherever you are, whoever you are, respect always makes an impact, and it is always something positive for the future of anyone you're around.
No, I think that's a beautiful message, and I think that's awesome. Demontae, thank you for being here today. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you literally in years, so it's so awesome.
I feel like it's been decades.
Yeah. No, this is awesome. It was great seeing you, and I hope you have a beautiful day.
You as well, John.
Oh, no.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.